Okay, guys, welcome back to my channel. So, for this episode, I'm still away out of the country, but in the meantime, Wissam is killing it on the new build. So, I'll just voice over everything that he's done. So, anyways, let's pick up where we last left off in the last episode. Okay, so at this stage, our next goal is to get the car wired. And in order for the wiring guy to do his job, we need to have everything mounted in its correct spot. Otherwise, later on, we might have an issue with some wires passing where something has to be bolted on, and we don't want that to happen. So over here, Wissam is mounting on the coilover external reservoir. This is to control the compression on the two-way coilover, and you control the rebound from the top side of the coilover. He then does just a rough setup for the car ride height and the spring preload. This will be redone later on when it's time to align the car. We'll do a corner balance and we'll do the droop settings on the car. I'll explain more about it once we get to that stage. But at this time, all he wants to do is have a neutral baseline where all the coilovers are set a little bit high in order for the body kit to be installed, and we don't want the tire to be contacting anything from the body kit. And once he's done, he'll just double check his measurements all around in four corners, and then he'll lock everything in place. Just keep in mind these are aluminum lock rings, so there's no need to go crazy on them. Just a little bit tight will do the job. You don't have to go that crazy on it. Once the weight of the car is down on the rings, it will anyways hold it in place. And finally, once he's done, he installs the tie rods and then adjusts the toe settings up front to have both tires pointing relatively straight. He's just eyeballing it at this point in order for him to move the car around if he has to. Now on to the engine bay in order to finish the plumbing side of things. So he has all the rest of the fuel lines, water hoses, mounting the fuel regulator, which is what he's doing over here, and also grinding down any sharp edges on the opening in the firewall where our lines pass through. We don't want the lines obviously to get caught up on anything sharp, and then a small weather strip is put around the opening basically. Also in this corner we have our catch tank, and that filter over there is for the catch tank, the custom one that we did, the oil catch tank, or breather basically in this case. It's creating a mounting spot for it, and I believe that was everything that was done in the engine bay. Next, he moves into the driver cockpit area. Obviously, all the electronics controlling the car will be mounted in the driver cockpit area. So he starts by installing the keypad, which is installed onto this carbon fiber switch panel. And also on that switch panel goes the kill switch, which controls the solid state relay, which he also will get to installing next to the battery. Also, he mounts the battery, which will be installed, or it's already installed over there, next to the fluids tunnel. He also needs to install the throttle pedal, since we are running a drive-by-wire. So the pedal needs to be installed in place for the wiring guy to wire it in. Now, the final step is mounting the ECU and the PDMs. On this car, we only use 2 PDMs, unlike the S13, where we had to use 3 PDMs. The reason for that is on this car, we're going to run only one large fan on the radiator, which takes power directly from the battery, and just a single wire that controls the speed. While on the S13, we use 2 large 16-inch fans, which draw a lot of amps. And with all the accessories on the car, 2 of these PDMs just couldn't handle it. Next, he moves to the rear section of the car, which really has the heaviest wiring going on, because most of the accessories that require a lot of amps, this is where they are located. So over there, you can tell that's our big fan that I was just talking about, and the radiator has already been installed with the plumbing. What he's doing over here is doing the fuel lines and mounting them onto the fuel tank, also the fuel filler neck. There's also some plumbing that needs to happen for the aqua sump, and the ice tank going up to the front section of the radiator, which has our heat exchanger, and then from that goes to the engine bay. So there's not really much to explain over here, so just enjoy some weird copyright-free music. So on to the final step before handing over the car to the wiring guy. So we need to change the clutch. So Wissam pulls off the transmission in order to change the clutch. If you remember a few episodes ago, I said that the clutch that we were using was just for mock-up. It's a used one. It was just to make sure that there's enough clearance around the starter and the bell housing and that everything fits how it should be. So once our new clutch came in from Action Clutch, we got to swapping it out. So this is the same clutch that I use on my other cars. It's a custom clutch, twin disc ceramic, capable of holding all the power and torque that we can throw at it. And at this stage, we're not putting the transmission back on because Wissam checked the clearance to the release bearing, between the clutch and the release bearing. That's why you have to have your bell housing on. And then the bracket that holds the release bearing was sent off to the machine shop to be milled down to the correct height. Once it's back, he'll install the transmission. But in the meantime, they drop the car back down and start wiring it. And now we are in the final stretch, wiring. To be honest, when it comes to wiring, I don't have much knowledge. I've always depended on Ziad and ZK Motorsport team to do the wiring on all my cars. But what I can tell you is that the wires used are Tefzel, the heat shrink and the dividers and the connectors are all mil-spec, and some of the connectors are also Deutsch, but everything is done to the highest standard possible as far as I know. And when it comes to starting up the car, making base files for the PDNs, for the ECUs, what I can say is that Ziad is a guru when it comes to CAN bus protocol and tuning. He's never failed to start the car from the first crank, and we've never really had to diagnose or figure out or troubleshoot any issues. And once he downloads his base files for the PDMs and the ECUs and turns over the car and gives me the green light, we never face any issues again or have to troubleshoot anything related to wiring or electronics again. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same case on this car. So for now, enjoy the rest of the video. I'm going to cut it short. And in the next episode, we'll finally slap on the body kit and start the car.